on this Monday morning. How about the Mets? I mean, they really found their way. This is a team that lost 16 of 22, had played very, very poorly for a long period of time. Off a decent start when they won 14 of 21, but they couldn't get their pitching organized. No Verlander, obviously Scherzer in and out, plus a suspension. Had a lot of issues, and then the Mets all of a sudden against Tampa capitalized those two games late in the week. Those rookies hit the home runs. Alonso's been all over the place. They won two incredible games there. And then amongst the rainout, they win a great game on Friday against the Guardians, and they come back and beat them yesterday when both pitchers start. You know, obviously Scherzer in the opening game, they bounce back with Marte, and then in the nightcap, Verlander in a game that takes 2 hours and, 5 minutes? With Bieber, the sac fly. Great job by the Mets. They win 5 in a row, back over 500. I know the Phillies beat the Cubs over the weekend, a couple games, but they've really struggled. Much more confidence in the Mets now, making a big run here and putting them solidly in playoff positioning as far as the NL is concerned, with everybody being bad as it is. Cardinals under 500, Padres are terrible, and away we go. The Mets should have plenty of chances now to separate themselves from a lot of these other teams, maybe not from Atlanta, but separate themselves from other wild card participants and put themselves in good stead. Got to keep the starting pitching organized, but the drama and the dramatics of the Mets with late inning home runs on the last 5 days and all the comebacks. Rays, the best team in the sport, 2 wins there. And, of course, Cleveland, no slouch, although they're having a bad start, maybe a bad year. Still, great job by New York. Wonderful performance by Verlander yesterday. And there's some oomph at Citi Field. And they go to Wrigley Field. The Cubs have been terrible. Mets can capitalize there. That is item number 1. Item number 2 are the Yankees, and it was only a matter of time. Everybody writing about the Yankee demise. They did what they had to do against Tampa, getting a split in some of those games they won. They buried Toronto. They killed the Reds. They killed the A's. Once the Yankees play the horrendous teams, they're going to do the same thing that Tampa did beginning of the year. 6-0 against Tampa and against Oakland and Cincinnati in the last 10 days. And, that's what they're just going to kill these teams. And the Red Sox can do the same thing when they get their chances at these clubs, too. They're bad. They're horrendous. I mean, Oakland is worse than the 62 Mets. They're an embarrassment. And the Reds, they've been a competitive team, but against the tall order and the top of the food chain, they're going to show you what they're all about, and they're going to get killed. And they did this weekend. The games were close, but they still lost. Severino was pretty good yesterday. Yankee bullpen's done a nice job. Judge hit 1 million home runs, and they still don't have Stanton in the lineup. The Yankees are 29-20, and that was a big week in Toronto. 3 out of 4. Judge hitting home runs left and right. The Yankees are flying right now, and eventually they're going to get their pitching staff organized. They get the Orioles now at Yankee Stadium, and Baltimore has done a great job. Don't look up now, but the Orioles are only 2 back of Tampa for first place in the American League East. They've had a harder schedule than Tampa's had. They've also beaten Tampa 2 out of 3, so we shall see. Now, the Orioles usually get killed by the Yankees, and Garrett Cole is going to start the opener, so they might get off to a bad start there. Yankees also beat Baltimore 2 out of 3 in Baltimore as the Orioles started their first homestand of the season. So, listen, Baltimore's done a heck of a job. They beat Toronto, extra innings. Yesterday, a great win for them. Toronto's got a lot more. Toronto's too arrogant for a team that's done nothing. I've said this for months. Toronto's way too arrogant for a team that's done absolutely nothing the last 2 years. They haven't done anything. They haven't won a playoff game. And, now that 3 games over 500, we shall see of what Toronto can do here. I know they were playing pretty well until the last week. They did a great job against Atlanta, but then they come out this last week and they go, they go 1-6 against these 2 teams in the American League East. So we keep an eye on that. Texas and Houston, that appears to be a 2-team race in the AL West. Houston, I can't really think too much about what they did. As they killed the A's, they won 3 in a row. What else is new? But Altuve came back over the weekend. Valdez pitched well yesterday. The Astros are the Astros. They're going to be there at the end of the day, even with the Brantley setback. And obviously, Texas, they killed Colorado, but Texas has done a very good job. They got a tremendous offense that scored the most runs of anybody in the league. They got a good manager. They bullpen's a mess. DeGrom said he turned a corner the other day. We have to wait and see whether a bullpen session will determine that. But Texas and Houston look to be the cream of the crop of the AL West. Seattle's had trouble getting out of their own way. They never hit. And Castillo hasn't been as good as you think. And, of course, the Angels up and down, up and down, up and down. Now does the Angels. I mean, they're a game or two over 500. Their bullpen's horrendous. I think it may be Texas and Houston in the American League in this division. Texas won 2 out of 3 in Seattle. They beat the Angels 2 out of 3 in Anaheim. And they beat Houston 2 out of 3. They go to Pittsburgh this week. Houston will go to Milwaukee. As far as the NL is concerned, Dodgers have major pitching woes, and that is a problem long term. I don't think it's a problem in the division. Alana will discuss this momentarily. They had a rough weekend in St. Louis. They lost 3 out of 4. You figured they were going to struggle a little bit in St. Louis. The Cardinals got swept in Dodger Stadium. They kind of owed them one, and they won 3 out of 4 in Busch Stadium. And the Cardinals, of course, right now have played very well. They did a good job in Wrigley Field. They did a very, very good job in Fenway. They buried them. They handled the Brewers. Now they beat the Dodgers. The Cardinals feel a little better about themselves. And because Milwaukee and Pittsburgh can't get out of their own way in the NL Central, the Cardinals find themselves 5 games behind. No big deal there. And right back in the thick of it. So St. Louis, which could have been basically sent to, the off season with a good team in the division, didn't happen. Bad division. They got right. They did a good job on a road trip. Again, they beat the Red Sox. I mean, they did a very, very good job of beating the Cubs before that. In between, they did okay between those 2 series. And then, of course, the Dodgers and the Brewers this week at home. So good job by St. Louis in that division. So the Cardinals back in the mix. The Mets 5 in a row. A lot of heroics. Pitchers pitched yesterday. Very good sign with Verlander and Scherzer. Verlander in the nightcap. Mets are back over 500. Feel good about them. Atlanta's Atlanta, we understand that, and Anthopoulos a little bit later on. Texas and Houston, we have an idea of where we stand with them. So a lot going on as far as baseball is concerned as we head to Memorial Day, a big marker as far as our year goes.